Northern Michigan doing the unthinkable.
Huge potential here.
He gets one, he gets two.
That is beautiful, beautiful front to back right there.
Up 3-1 Eastern. Looking good, feeling good. Life is good. Welcome back, EMU. You can't get rid of me, man. You just can't do it. This is the third year in a row that I've done casting for EMU. I'm not leaving. You can't get rid of me, even though I graduated a year and a half ago.
That's an impressive record, to be honest.
I'm gonna be the creepy 30-year-old that can't let college go.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
It's it's the love of the game.
You'll be here for EMU Overwatch 2030, right?
Of course,
yeah,
of course.
Definitely.
We have a new friend for stream.
This is my first day in a row.
This is Ben. And okay, do you prefer Ben or do you prefer your tag?
To be honest, it's 50-50 what people go with. You may notice I snuck my name into my tag right there. It's the first 3 letters backwards. A lot of people call me Neb. A lot of people go with Ben or Nebrix. Either works, really.
Okay, Nebrix. Okay,
yeah.
That's good to know.
100%.
I haven't even told you my actual name yet, and you're never gonna find out.
Well, that's fine because I was only gonna say Glavon anyway.
Good. So I intentionally have not met. Now I don't know which one to call you.
Why don't you go with Neb?
Ben.
I like Neb.
Neb. Haven't met Neb yet. So we get to meet on stream. Neb, who are you? Why are you here?
Wow, that's so great. It's great to meet you.
Great.
Well, thank you so much. It's so
This
good
is
to be
friendship
here.
right
This
here.
is so cool. This is such a great setup. Yeah, well, so I was a buddy of one of our players, our tank players here on EMU Overwatch.
Yeah, fresh faces.
Was a good buddy of mine. Over last semester, we actually played on a team together. So I was a support. He was playing DPS back at that time, and we just we really hit it off and had a lot of fun. And once that season ended, we kind of split off and went and did our own thing, but I heard he was here, so I had to join the Discord. I had to get in the Discord, had to know when the games were on so I could come watch and check it out, and I saw someone throw a little message in there that says, we're looking for broadcasters, and I thought, you know what? I can do that. So here I am doing it.
That's beautiful. For anybody that doesn't know my wonderful legacy, I've been with EMU Esports since 3 iterations of EMU Esports ago.
Nice.
I've been here through 3 directors. I played on varsity for a while. I was also a tank player.
Nice.
Got benched by my beloved Silver Bee, so I moved on to casting. And now I won't stop yapping. And I coached EMU JV last year.
Nice.
They went all the way. They had an undefeated season, went all the way up to finals, and we actually have 3 out of the 5 players from EMU JV last year on our team this year.
Nice.
So we're going to see some familiar faces and 2 new friends that you guys get to root for all season. And we'll keep him secret, keep him safe until
the moment of action. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, that's a pretty stacked roster. That's a lot of great. I've totally been there before. I've been on a team. From not winning a single map, let alone a game, not a single map, and then turning around and going all the way to a grand finals, like you said, and getting undefeated. So I mean, it's definitely a testament to the players that they're still here and that they're still working on it and that they want to keep going and keep doing better. So I mean, that's all we can ask to see, really. That's the most interesting part for me, is just seeing everybody go in there and give it their all each time. And so that's what I'm really excited to see these players do. I've heard a lot about it. I had the amazing chance to come and play with some people last semester. We were invited to come hang out and see the space.
Yeah,
so it's
I remember that.
not actually the first time I've been in here. I saw it one more time, which is really good because it helped me know where to park.
Yeah.
So that was kind of tricky the first time, but here I think I got in. So
good.
I actually got a ticket last time, if I recall. Actually.
Okay. Well,
wasn't really supposed to, but that's on me.
Back to the EMU green, folks. Everybody knows that EMU Parking is the most beloved organization on campus.
That's right.
But we are getting ready to go into our stream now, and we're looking at our upcoming stream schedule here. You can see that we're actually only going to be casting EMU for some reason. I don't know why we would do that, but it's going to be EMU versus Kent State. And what is the date today? Today is the 9th. Yeah. So today versus Kent State. And then is that correct? We're going Kent State for for Rocket. See, it helps if I can read. I can't read. Overwatch
That's okay.
versus
I was deciphering a little bit too, but yeah.
Overwatch today. EMU versus Kent State in Rocket League tomorrow. Overwatch again versus CMU and then Overwatch again next week on the 16th versus Bowling Green, and then once again Rocket League the day after with Central Michigan. And you know which one you want to watch. Right. You want to watch the Overwatch.
Yeah, come on, that's what you're here for.
Does Rocket League have Winston? I don't think so.
Definitely
I
not.
don't think so.
I checked.
I've got some
checked
friends
for
that
500 hours. No Winston in Rocket League, I can assure you.
But let's take a look at our standings. Some really hard-hitting stats here. You can see that this is where it's all about, folks.
I mean, it really says it all right here. It's sort of almost a waste of resources to have casters with such an incredible and clear board up here. But as you can see, we've got our, very optimistically, we've got ourselves up there, right, in the number one spot.
EMU number one, baby.
Yeah, you heard it here first, followed by some of the amazing opponents that you can see us catching and trying to catch some wins from later on in the season. I'm trying to recognize some of these names here. You know, I have played some of these people. Akron University is a really strong team. I'm really excited to see that matchup. I think that's going to be a blast.
We definitely have some familiar faces here. We have been in ESC, NACE, that kind of that tournament for quite a while, so we know these schools pretty well. Some old favorites, we got Miami in there. We got Ball State. Akron we've played with quite a bit. We'll see how it shakes up this year and how all the teams stand. We know that we've got some heavy hitters in here and looking forward to some good matches. And clearly, we're not even going to have to move.
No. I think this is great because it gives a lot of freedom for our graphics team. The incredible people that assemble these kind of things. We don't want to make them do too much work. And for that reason alone, I think we've got that number one spot completely locked.
Exactly. I think the graphics team, it's actually one of our players is on the graphics team.
How amazing.
I think, Rose, can you actually make sure that our spot is baked into the background? Because we're not going to need to move it all.
Right,
It just
for sure.
It doesn't need to be its own object, not its own layer. Just bake it in right there.
Yeah, don't even export. Just throw that in, and then you're good to go. Yeah, 100%.
But I think we are ready to move on from our standings, and we are looking at our wonderful lineup here. And you can see we got some familiar faces. We got new faces. Let's start with our new faces. And you know what? I'll let you introduce our tank here.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said, Otto's a good buddy of mine. I've known him for a while, so I'll try and stay partially unbiased. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely got the mind for Overwatch. He's been playing for such a long time, and such a diverse player, and a player that's easily to take up a lot of roles and do a lot. So, I've seen him play support for 50 ranked games in a row. I've seen him play DPS. Like I said, he played DPS on a team that I was on too when I played support. But throughout all of that, I really haven't seen him that much on tank. But that is his main role. That is what he plays the most. That is what he likes, what he considers to be his dominant role. And I'm really excited to see how he's going to do here. Partially because I just know how dominant he can be, and I also love the amount of flexibility that he brings. Right?
Oh yeah,
a lot of different choices, a lot of different. Feels comfortable on a lot of different heroes. Definitely has the mind for it. But sometimes it's just about, trusting yourself, getting in there, and believing that you'll do all the right things and going for it. So I can't wait to see how that works. And he's a great in-game leader, too.
Oh, yeah,
I said I wasn't going to be biased, but I am a little biased. He's a great in-game leader, and that's what you want from a good tank player, right? Is you want someone that's making those calls and really taking the charge at the front, since they can kind of see everything from up there. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But tell me about some of these other people. I mean, I'm not familiar, but I'm excited to get familiar. So let me know who we got.
We are intimately familiar here at EMU with some of our goats up here. The greatest goats of all time. I'll do it. I'll
the GGOs.
Yeah, I'll make it completely redundant. I was going to say, it sounds like Otzel actually fell down the same pipeline that I did, which was flex player into tank player.
Yeah. Because
it's Overwatch. The tank players are the
100%.
only. There's like two of us. But we got Rage. Rage is a brand new face at EMU. This is the first time that we have seen him in action at all. He has not played on JV before. Walking straight into varsity here. So exciting to see an unfamiliar face completely and see how he's been going. I've been watching some scrims, and I'm optimistic. I think we can do a lot here. And then, of course, Aurora, Nix, and Rose. They have been
legacies.
around. They've been around the block. This is Rose's 3rd year with the team.
Nice.
There's a very unflattering photo of me and Rose meeting on the first day that gets posted sometimes, and we both hate it. It's awful.
We'll throw it up on the stream next week. How
Oh
about that?
God,
Yeah,
please
we'll go
don't,
ahead and
please
just
don't,
let
please.
everybody-
It's so.
Now that you've let us know it exists,
it's
we'll,
such a bad
we'll get the team
picture.
on that and just get them to throw it up right after.
I hate it. I'm like bent over like a shrimp, and I weigh like 40 additional pounds, so I look. It's awful. But Aurora and Nyx. Aurora has been on JV for a while, and genuinely, I think, is one of the most improved players that I have ever seen. Because Aurora, and they were just telling me before the stream started, they had to remind me that they were a 1,000 hour hard stuck bronze 5 Mercy main when they joined the team. And now they are a plat 4 hit scan player. And watching them, if there was a bronze 6, Aurora was in bronze 6.
Sure.
Like I think they can admit that as well. And watching them climb up from bronze from wood 6 to real playable ranks and like actually see the progress and everything. Awesome to watch.
I can't wait. I mean, yeah, like I said, that's my favorite part, and that's what we're asking of everybody, right? Is to just go out there, do their best, keep going, keep climbing. And you know, I'd be lying if I said there weren't times that I thought I was at my peak. I thought there's no way, like this is just how I'm gonna play for the rest of my life, and then that's not how it happens. But no one should be embarrassed about that time in bronze. I myself was a Hydrogen 5.
Oh yeah.
Hanzo main Xbox. In my bedroom, just hundreds of hours of absolutely feeding my brains out and not doing anything at all but ruining ranked games for other people who are on my team. But you got to get those out of the way sometimes.
Sometimes you just have to be the one that throws so that you can be the one that carries later. And then, of course, we can't forget Nyx. Nyx, who I have bounced around between, I think, every role except for tank. Now, Rose, I have bounced around from every role, including tank. But Nyx is my GOAT. Nyx is my GOAT. Nyx is always super flexible, very, very enthusiastic. Maybe sometimes a little too enthusiastic.
Yeah.
Maybe
okay.
toes the line on feeding a little bit. It's okay. It's okay.
I mean, I can't wait to see it, to be honest. And something that's got me excited too is this strange thing has happened since I played last semester, where every time I glance at Overwatch, I see more Lifeweaver. I see people doing well on Lifeweaver, and I'm kind of thinking it's a bit unfamiliar to me, because in all my time playing Overwatch, this wasn't necessarily a super ideal choice in a lot of situations, but I think we're seeing that turn around. And I think a lot of that is has to do with the new perk system.
Yes.
And getting to enable that individual player choice and how they want to level up their game. But I think a lot of it comes with what happens with a lot of these hero shooters at games is it just comes with time. There are certain combos or certain strengths that linger in the game. Like, we didn't know that Orisa Hog was meta for like 6 months as a community, back in Overwatch 1. And so, but maybe this character has been here and has some use. So I don't know if we'll see it today, but it excites me that that's on someone's roster and we can see that played at like a really elevated level.
Oh, for sure. We probably aren't going to see any Weaver today, but we're not going to give up hope for the rest of the season. I would like to see it.
I got my eye out.
I want to see it. We're probably going to see Nyx mostly on the Lucio character.
Nice.
I know Lucio. Nyx has had Lucio in the lab for a while, has been really grinding at it. Nyx is very dedicated to their craft, and they have been bounced around from, I think I've had them on hitscan, I've had them on flex DPS, I've had them on main support and flex support, and any role that I've put them into, they have absolutely put their all into.
That's amazing, yeah.
And so now that they're on main support again, and now, we can't talk about our roster without talking about our beloved Suji.
100%. I've heard a lot. Never met the guy. But I've heard a lot from Otzel. I've heard that this is a real treat. We've got someone like this.
Suji is, I believe he was once called by somebody many moons ago, the Jesus of Overwatch.
Nice.
He has coached in whatever the current iteration of professional is. I think it was OWL at that point.
Sure.
Maybe it was either OWL or OWCS.
Yeah.
But he has coached in OWCS for Space Station Gaming. He was associated with Oh, I'm sorry, Suji. I can't remember your team names. What?
I mean,
London Spitfire. London
that's
Spitfire.
great. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah.
And so the fact that we have a coach from that high of a level coaching us has been a tremendous boon. And he's been with us for probably 2, maybe 3 years at this point, to the point where I was coached by him before I left. And you're gonna see him cook. We've got some comps in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Suji, my absolute goat. And we are ready to take a look at our map pool for the season. Of course.
Tower. I think we could have guessed. We could have put our bets in there. Li Jing, it's just such a classic pick for a competitive nature like this. First of all, the map variety, very, very wide and different. There's a lot. Each submap kind of has its own patterns and its own
for sure
kind of comps that it lends strength to. So you get to see teams really use their best stuff, and then maybe some stuff that they're working on just works better in a certain area like that. And what I also really love about Li Jing, watching, is that it's kind of a wild card map too, especially on Gardens. You see a lot of people say, well, we could stick with sort of a ground tank, and people historically have played even Junker Queen or Ramatra, just going in that little tight room running out. But you also see teams elect to go more Winston and play out in the open side near the bridges, and a lot of times your DPS that may not traditionally be on flyers will choose flyers. So there's a lot of variety that comes into a Li Jing Tower pick. So I'm really excited to see what the teams bring out and which map really hones their A game.
Oh, for sure. I love Li Jing. It's a great map. Extra special shout out to TXCXX and how much misery.
Yes. Oh, of course. TXCXX, the classic in queue game. Yeah.
They hate playing TXCXX with me. They hate it. Guys, you just got to go soldier and stand on the stairs, and you can't die.
I have to endorse NAKET, which is Stickman Cole Cassidy dueling. You are a stickman with a little wrecking ball on your head, and you play third-person Stickman Cassidy 1v1. It's great. You guys
I'm going to need you to DM that to me because I'm not going to remember it, but I need something else dumb when they get sick of TXCXX.
It's so dumb and it's so fun.
But I'm very excited to see this first map. I think okay, we're gonna test my memory here. I don't have the map. I don't have the maps in front of me. But if memory serves, we have Li Jing for control. I think we've got Ilios.
Yep.
It's going to be Li Jing every time. Yeah. Why are there even other maps?
I think that's a good choice. I mean, coin flip, whichever. A lot of teams lean Li Jing, right? And I think part of that is that that variability where you can kind of just play what you're comfortable with, and there's a good chance that one of those sub-maps or one of those parts you're going to be able to make something work with that. Something like Ilios tends to be a little bit more specialized. You see a bit more dive, a bit more mobility, a bit more range, and that's just kind of standard throughout the entire map. Nepal would be sort of another good answer of that, where kind of you would sort of expect to see some of these sort of fast-moving like rush teams, if you would,
sure.
in a lot of these places, just because of the close quartersness. But yeah, I mean, Li Jing, that it just opens up a ton of flexibility. I think that's why teams love to play it. You get to see what you can do, you get to see what your opponent can do, and kind of their strengths and weaknesses. Is a really good gauge for the rest of the map.
Control is just such a good game mode in general. I'm trying to think of if there's any control maps that I dislike, and
I can't even think of an instance when the community was against a particular control map. And
yeah, they're all pretty damn good.
Considering the history of Overwatch 2, where they really have gone in, and we've got a lot map reworks in Overwatch 2, and maybe rework's the wrong word, maybe a tweak.
Yeah,
would be what we'd call it there. But these map changes, they really enable everybody to play in a much more fun way, right?
Yeah.
Nobody likes losing to something they completely expect on a certain part of a map. But
Havana.
I think you're right. Yeah. Havana is absolutely true. Yeah, definitely. That one was needed. Maybe another one is needed, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Widowmaker's home.
It's definitely just a haven for those snipers, and that first point is really... That's tough.
It's
That was
rough.
even tough with the God. What was the event with that? Something Storm.
Oh, Rising Storm.
Rising Storm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with the event on the expert mode, I'm like, come on, I can't even get past the AI.
Yeah, it's just the sight lines on it are ridiculous.
Yeah. But like you're saying, back to Control. Yeah, for a lot of those reasons, I think it is a very preferred mode in Overwatch. And something else too is it's a little. I don't want to say it's. I'm trying to look for the right word here. In other modes in Overwatch, there's a little bit more of a game going on in the background where you're considering when do we touch, how much are we going to force this point, and you've got to play differently on something like Escort, where if you're
it's not
50
a mirrored
meters
map.
from the back
Yep.
or 5 meters from the point, so that all depends how you're going to play. Whereas when it comes with Control, you really just get to kind of let loose and play your best, and it really just is that brawl, right? There's certainly ways to maximize the point and to maximize the pressure and stuff, but at the end of the day, it's all about that one capture point. You can expect to find both teams there ready to go, and so yeah, it just kind of enables that sort of like flow state play of like, let me just get in there, just do what I do, play Overwatch, and try and get this point, and it's a really great starter.
And so, unfortunately, Control's not the only game mode in the game.
Luckily, yeah.
We've also got, what else is in our map pool? We're going to be going from, I believe, Control to Hybrid. King's Row is in the map pool, so we're not going to see anything but King's Row. Like, what's the point of even scrimming the other maps?
King's Row is kind of the opposite of everything I just said about not having Specialized. It's just such a staple.
It's just everybody love King's Row.
Love to play it, and I mean, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why, but with very few or maybe even no tweaks, King's Row has stood the test of time as an absolute community favorite in the hybrid area. And I think if I had to say a reason off the top of my head, it really comes down to, again, it's just those maps that players prefer that enable themselves to really just lock in on the gameplay and what they're playing.
Absolutely.
King's Row is very, there's flanks, there's turns, there's high ground.
You can really play anything on King's Row.
Yeah, you can, 100%. And the objective is always very straightforward.
Yes.
The choke points are very readable, very understandable, very breakable. I've had games held under that first little bridge after first point, you know, and then you've got games where you're held right at the end of second. So it doesn't feel like some of these other hybrid maps. I'm thinking like Paraiso off the top of my head. It's like, there are a lot of areas you can expect to get held at the end of Paraiso. Yeah, it definitely feels like on King's Row, it's always winnable. Always winnable. Yeah. But it definitely, I don't dread any point of King's Row. There's certainly points of like Havana where if you're pushing into the end of Havana, you're not pushing into the end of Havana because it's the end of Havana. Yeah. You're trying. Yeah. But whether or not you succeed is definitely up to it. Yeah. You cap with 5 minutes up to that last choke, and then you'd spend 5 minutes dying to a Widowmaker. Very fun, very cool map. Something we see in a lot of, especially newer maps, is this intentional sectioning off of certain areas of the map. So going back to Paraiso, for instance, is you have sort of that first section that is that first point capture is very kind of flexible. I think it's one of those ones that you can kind of do a lot with it. But then that second point there is really tough to get through if you don't kind of add some mobility to your team as you're kind of trying to get across the rooftops and stuff like that too. But again, this is that all comes down to, when can your teams take advantage of the map points and the situations that lend themselves to your strengths and get that progression. And that's what I'm talking about, that second game, right? So I'm excited to see that in some of our hybrid maps. And absolutely. And I just heard a very familiar sound in my ears here. I did too. Initiating match, Lijiang Tower. And you can actually see we've got Otzel and Rage on stream right now, and Rage is unfortunately hiding the rest of our team behind his head. They're there, trust us. They're there. Oh, yep, you can see the back of Aurora's head, Nyx, and then you can see Rose's iconic beanie in the back. We are ready to take a look at some wonderful Overwatch gameplay. So I think we are going to be going in just a second. And I can, you know what? I don't even need to, I'm not even going to look at the stream. I'm gonna call the comp right now. We are looking at a Zarya, a Genji or Reaper, a Sojourn, a Kiri, and a Lucio. Let's see how you did as we kind of go into this first match here.
It looks like we are switching up the comp to a little bit more brawl style this time with the Orisa
Had
and
a
the
couple
BAP.
right picks, but to be honest, I think, like we said on Lijiang, this is really map dependent, and we're seeing a really kind of control center-esque point here. Pulling out things like Symmetra is really cool, and Baptiste.
Absolutely, and it's a little unfortunate that we get picked early there. Aurora going down, the rest of our team able to back out successfully, and we are now trying to get into the point again. Getting ready for another team fight.
Yeah, a really good kite. I mean, the last thing you want to do is waste time trying to win a 4v5 when they've already got the point, right? So they're just getting, a few little percentage points off of this, and we don't really mind. We were able to reset really nice, which is great.
Absolutely. Just trying to slow roll our way in here. We are definitely quite beefy on this team with the Orisa and the BAP. And the big lamp coming out, saving Otzel. And it looks like we might be getting forced out. A big pick
nice.
on that Cassidy coming out.
Yeah. The Orisa gold there, really, really good. Staying on that corner, keeping yourself really strong and steady for your DPS to swing and get that pick. Now we're going to see a big walk as we try and get the rest of these picks in. And maybe stagger. Oh, do we get a good stagger here? Okay, just a little bit. Nice in the back line.
And it looks like we are in a winning position here. We did lose a little bit of percentage here early, but honestly, I think we can make it up.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned. Is Orisa supposed to have 450 health? That seems a little low. Are we? Yeah, pretty sure tank health is not correct here.
Just gonna mention, as soon as you pointed it out, I thought.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we're looking at garbage time here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's.
This is a little awkward. 450 health is still quite a bit, but there's the pause.
Is that enough to consider yourself a tank? I mean,
Look, I have seen 800 HP Ramatras pre-nerf blow up in half a second. So, well, good warm up, guys. We really love NACE and ESC because of their high quality games.
Absolutely.
And how well they vet their settings. If hopefully we are able to, I'm not sure who is lead in lobby, but if anybody needs to find that setting, I do know where it is.
It's okay.
Anyway.
I mean, it is bound to happen. I think the good news here is we don't really need to be concerned about seeing the compositions. I think people really came out on pretty personalized, yet thoughtful compositions for Lijiang Control Center. So I probably wouldn't expect people to come out on something totally different and kind of surprise everything. I think this is kind of a situation where maybe both teams are not necessarily thinking that they've got a super, big leg up. You've got something like D.Va into Orisa, which can kind of go either way. And then you've got, Symmetra might bother that D.Va, but you've got, maybe a little bit more of a weaker backline when you've got people that are sort of easier to hit. So I think there's kind of this with all these areas, I don't think we're looking at a big reset or they're going to completely swap things up.
I don't think anybody's going to come out counter-comping. And honestly, I have been a big proponent of a long time that Counterwatch, the concept of people constantly switching that you see a lot in like Plat and Diamond, is people have the wrong idea of it. If you are constantly switching and playing to counter your enemy, you're not playing your own game.
Definitely,
you have to play your own game. And I have played Winston into Mauga, Reaper, Torbjorn. Maybe I didn't have fun.
You don't have to tell me, because you heard me say that I played support for my team, but my most played hero is Doomfist. By a lot.
You know what? I think I'm done casting, guys.
And if you know
this
Doomfist mains,
this guy's,
you know I don't swap. Ever.
Get a load of this guy. Anyway, now we're at full health on our tanks. Looks like we are rolling out same comps. Very honorable from both sides.
We are on night market this time. I don't think it'll change things up too much, but I'm really excited to see teleporting right to point. I've seen this move before, and it looks like it's going to work.
And we are going to take first point control. Are we able to keep it throughout garbage time as the point opens up?
Right. So it's just that little bit of, it's that play where you're kind of wondering, are we going to be able to hold this for 20 seconds till it unlocks, or, are they going to try and make a stand here? Looks like they are trying to make a stand to contest, but luckily we've kept all of our lives.
And we are doing okay. We are stabilizing. And honestly, it looks like we've got pretty decent control of this. If Rage is able to get a nice big beam going, And it looks like it does flip over to the enemy's control. But we've got a big beam coming out of Rage.
Having a Symmetra on the off angle is super dangerous. I love having that TP down just to kind of get out if you need it, but that's a really powerful spot. And I think he just got dove just at the wrong time when that TP wasn't quite up. Might be looking to boop here from Nyx.
That is unfortunate, and it looks
okay.
like
It looks like we're gonna have to fade out. Yeah.
Yeah, that early pick on Rage on the sim on the off angle is really unfortunate because it just relieved all of the pressure that we were getting from Rage, and the rest of our team just goes down without it.
Yeah,
without that off angle, it's hard to do.
Gonna see a swap from Rage over onto the Mei. Kind of plays a bit of a similar role, just in a bit of a different way. So instead of having that TP for survivability, you've got Ice Block, which is obviously a more straightforward kind of way to keep yourself alive here.
Absolutely, and that wall is going to be critical, and that is a early freeze coming out, and it looks like we are going to go down to that freeze. Unfortunately, looks like we are team wiping with that freeze. We do have ults coming up on our side. We've got Window, and we've got what is it called? Orisa ult. Terra Surge coming up.
Yeah.
But we are going to be answered by, looks like Bomb is coming up, as well as Overclock and OC, or Overclock and Window, my bad. And that can be a pretty deadly combo, but we do have the Mei wall to block it off, so we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, Rose goes down
just gonna
super
die to the
early
poke.
here.
Yeah. You know, they've got a lot of deceptive poke on their team. Those icicles hurt, man. Those
They
Mei icicles
do, man. They
hurt.
really
They
do.
hurt really bad, and Bap just kicks so much ass. He gets out on there and just lays down the fire while he's healing the team up. We've seen him as a staple pick for a few months now.
Oh yeah.
I think.
It looks like we are going to try and get this D.Va out. The both walls coming out, the Baptiste Window coming out, as well as Terra Surge. Is it going to be enough?
We do have the overclock on the off angle. I don't know if we're going to pop it to commit.
And it looks like a little bit of guys the point going on here. Oh, and the collat in garbage time is unfortunate. Got a little too distracted trying to get on that off angle, forgot about the point. You know what? It happens. Not our map.
Yeah,
it's winnable.
100%. You know, we spoke so well about Lijiang, but something that can happen is you've got all these choke points that are basically right outside of spawn, right? And for that reason, it's really easy to just get out ult cycled. And, you know, if you get stuck trying to come through this choke and every time you try, they've got a freeze, they've got a beat, they've got a Terra Surge, and they're using those, you know, over, and, you know, each fight as it goes, you're going to have a harder time pushing through that. But once you've got the advantage and you can do that to the other team, it's actually, I mean, it's very turnable, it's very winnable.
Absolutely.
It's just about if you can grab onto that first initial kind of way. So we're back in Control Center now with another swap. Looks like we got Otzel on the Ramatra. I know a little bit about Otzel on Ram, and it's pretty good.
I am a little hesitant, and that's a big pick coming out of Rage on that enemy Sojourn. That's going to be a lot of damage down on their team, and if we're able to just walk with Ram Block and just take that space, a big immo coming out, keeping Otzel up, is it going to be enough? We don't have shield. Keep us up.
Playing the cover, though, we still are even in this fight. We've got the BAP ready. We've got the Mei using Ice Block on point. We just need to see if we can swing.
And it is going to go...
We do have form back. Unfortunately, the forward-facing damage is just going to be a little bit too much. But, hey, we've got openings here. That Icicle of Pain, you know, getting someone taken out of the fight that easily and that early is a really great way. And it's just about capitalizing on that afterwards.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a big early pick. We just unfortunately weren't able to convert it into too much.
Yeah. The Mei wall is going to stop a lot of that momentum.
It really is. We do have our own Mei wall to catch, but it looks like we just weren't able to do much. I'm a little concerned about the Ramatra pick considering how hard he did get nerfed in this season just a week,
it's true.
2 weeks or so ago.
Considering, yeah.
I was a big Ram player beforehand, and he feels not great right now. So we'll see if it's enough. We do pop the Ice Block coming out, and is it going to be enough to get that Mei down? Unfortunately not. And it looks like we are going to have to chill.
To stay alive and get a little bit of space. Oh, that freeze is coming out, though. Are we going to be able to speed everybody out just on the edge?
Unfortunate. And it looks like we're just going to reset with team here. That's all right. We've got some ults coming up, but we are going to be answered by their OC, Bomb, and Window, as well as Beat coming up. We do have almost 5 on the board. We'll see what our team does with it.
Yeah, and you know, when you have these big ult fights, I think speed is definitely the name of the game. is making a play before your opponents can, and just kind of getting that ball rolling is going to be a really important part. What you don't want to do is spend too much time waiting and deciding what to do. That kind of gives them to answer. Window comes down. Oswald's able to walk past it, but he's booped to the other side, and taking that double damage.
Yeah, that's just a rough time. We did block off the window with the shield, but it's just so much damage coming out of it. If we get booped away from that at all, it's going to be hard. And I'm expecting to see a big bomb coming out of the enemy D.Va here just to keep us in spawn. Yeah, it looks like we're just doing everything we can to touch, and it's not going to be enough. And it looks like that's first map for Kent State. Unfortunately, EMU not able to keep up the momentum that we had built in the kind of false start there. But we will, you know what? That's fine. That's a warm-up map. That's fine.
Definitely, you know, and but the pieces were all there.
Yes.
Right, so it's not like we saw you know an enormous struggle that just couldn't be beaten. We had a few really good early picks in certain fights. We had the teleporting right onto point and holding that down. Those are all the signs of a good play, right? I think where we're just getting into the details of it is where things kind of go a little bit far. And then, yeah, it's worth considering that those Ramatra changes, you know, certainly I think he's playable, but, you know, something people don't a lot of consider is just how the characters feel is a big impact in how they're played. And a really good example of this would be on Juno's release, right? We had Juno D.Va meta, which were you just sent your D.Va at light speed at anybody who wanted to die.
That was a very funny bug.
But you know, and this is anecdotal, but a lot of people were playing D.Va then, and then some changes came in, and it turned out that D.Va speed with the ring may have been a bug, and it wasn't meant to be that fast, and so that kind of play style settled down. But you still saw a lot of D.Vas afterwards, right? And it was kind of the meta introduced D.Va to a lot more players, I think. And so we may be seeing the opposite happen with Ram, where he's been so dominant, such a great top pick for so many seasons. And some of his perks were just so good. And they empower his core gameplay loops so well that now that he's toned down, you know, it's about finding your rhythm again. And that's going to take time from all players.
Absolutely. I was admittedly a little bit of a Ram OTP last season.
Yeah.
He was just so fun, man. I love Ram, gameplay-wise, lore-wise, design-wise. He's a fantastic character. I love him.
Really great.
But after the nerfs hit, I played him for a couple of games, and it's just so much changed about him because he got a health nerf. He's got a 1-second cooldown on block now. His E doesn't root with the perk anymore, and the armor bug. Oh, we haven't even mentioned the armor bug. That getting fixed means that Ram, in my opinion, feels very bad to play right now.
And it's not really that maybe any of these things are necessarily like, you know, sledgehammer nerfs, but it's the culmination, right?
Exactly.
And we're getting all these aspects of his kit when you're going for extra damage in front, when you're enabling yourself with your block and you're going for crazy plays. It's just, you know, the success rate on those goes down, and that's what definitely feels like a lot harder to play, I guess.
You know what really feels bad that I hope they fix, even if they kind of intend to leave Ram a little bit in the dirt right now, because a lot of people are sick of him, which is fair.
You can give him a little bit of a break.
But what feels really bad right now is if you are in Nemesis and you're blocking, and you are trying to live. You know, it's not the best play, but you can hit Q, you can get that 300 armor. It can do a lot for you. But if you're blocking and you try to pop Annihilation, you actually unblock. It goes on cooldown for a second, and then you can reblock. And I cannot tell you how many times in that little bit of time where I was playing Ram in this new season that I was blocking. I was just at the end of Nemesis, blocking the whole time, just taking space. I hit Q and I vanished.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean,
it's
definitely.
rough.
Those are totally the kind of changes that you got to be aware of. It's not as simple as, you know, Tracer's damage changing by a percentage point that, you know, makes her either super meta or never played. Yeah,
5.5,
6. You know, it's not as simple as that. This is a real measurable change that is going to affect people that are really familiar with Ramatra's gameplay.
Exactly. Now it looks like we are ready to look at our next map, and
there it is.
I am shocked.
Who knew?
I am absolutely floored. King's Row? What? What? Who's ever played
Vegas
Kings
is saying
Row?
to pay out everybody that put it on Kings.
It's I think if you bet on Kings, you actually still owe the casino.
Probably.
It's been the safest bet that anybody could ever make.
It's like instead of betting red or black, you just bet it'll land on a number.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
Pretty good chance.
Now this one, I'm much more confident that we will see our Zarya Soj. Depending on what they're playing, Genji or Reaper, and then Kiri or Lu. Maybe we'll see that BAP again. We'll see. But Kiri Lu is it's a classic backline.
It is. I mean, it's really never been out of style. It's certainly had its peaks in popularity, and stuff like, kind of Juno Brig took over for a while.
Yep.
But it was always there. It was always, kind of ready, and it's just, it's so classic. It's so much mobility. It's a lot of great sustain, and the complementation is just really, you can kind of play it with any tank, really.
Yeah,
you can. It's super connecting, and something else that's exciting about potentially seeing Zarya is it's such a great complement for Rage's hero pool, right?
Yep.
You've got all of these characters that thrive going deep, going for that kill, looking for those health bars, chasing them down, and those are the best kind of heroes that are supplied with a bubble, right?
Exactly. And I have seen Rage and Otzel in scrims together, and they have got that bubble timing down. Now we should mention why Zarya. Zarya has a new perk where when you right-click somebody and they take damage from your right-click, you gain 3 energy. Now this doesn't seem like a lot, right?
Yeah.
There is a slight hidden bit to it where it is not per right-click. It is per person hit by right-click.
Yeah.
So if you are hitting multiple people, which is pretty common with a Zarya right-click, you can gain up to 15 charge per right-click.
And there's this part of Zarya's kit which most players don't know about, but her ultimate actually groups everyone together and makes them extremely easy to hit with a big splash damage hit, and then just get all of that energy right up. And I think that's definitely part of what they're thinking when they implement something like that. But you're right. I mean, the right click is just generally a part of Zarya's gameplay loop.
Absolutely.
You have to add it in. It just not only does it give you that little bit of range, but it just gives you that flexibility around corners, around single targets for burst.
Exactly.
So yeah, beam damage can sometimes be hard to really get through, especially if you haven't had that energy generation. But having a reliable alternate fire that can just get it across there is a super important part.
Here we go. Yep,
Yeah.
Looking at the Reaper and the Baptiste, it looks like. And we are going to be looking for those bubble timings. I'm expecting some very good bubbles out of Otzel and Rage here, and just very solid play from our backline.
See it. There's the Rage going all the way right onto point right away, getting that bubble, soaking pretty much all of the damage from the Sojourn, and Rage is just kind of behind now.
And we are already at 60% charge. Those are some big bubbles coming in. It looks like we are bubbling just to stay alive here. We're moving slow, trying to get up that charge. We'll see what we are able to do.
There's a big debate in the community about whether or not Zarya actually counters D.Va or is strong against D.Va. You got one people saying, well, yeah, the beam damage is just too much for D.Va to handle, while the other people are saying if you use D.Va's mobility right, she's easy to stay away from the Zarya and just kind of keep yourself up. But I think Kings Row is a perfect map to see this matchup where both tanks have so many strengths.
Exactly. And now I do think that on this first point, it's going to be hard for us to really do much about that D.Va because she is going to be able to just sit on high ground so much. Unless she gets an ego and goes for our fully charged Zarya.
Bit of an unlucky reload from Rage. We're kind of in the right position, but the team's got to collapse. We got to get a little bit closer to that and see if we can support up there. But I mean, the bubble timing's good, and our Zarya's looking at pretty high charge throughout this entire thing. Yeah,
the only problem with the Zarya here is that it's really difficult to get that high ground control. So we really are looking at our Sojourn and our Lucio to rotate up to those high grounds, clear them out, and be able to walk that way. Because if they've got a Sojourn and a Lucio on their high ground, and especially a Baptiste and a D.Va cycling up and down, it's going to be really, really hard to break through there. Because we can be sitting in the middle of point, 100% charge, and if we just are out of range, what are we going to do?
And Rage on the Reaper here with these bubbles just has the exact kind of survivability that opens the window for your Sojourn and Lucio to take aggressive angles. We've got an overclock coming out from Please Nano Me, a very kind request. Unfortunately, doesn't get the nano on this one as there's no Ana in this game, but goes in and tries to get a couple kills, manages to find a bunch of them, and I'm honestly impressed with both teams at how quickly we're earning these ults.
Absolutely.
And popping them out and turning them around.
We are building up on our ults. That Grav could be big, especially if we're able to build up a Reaper ult quick enough. It looks like, unfortunately, we're just getting a little outranged right now, outmobilitied, because we are pretty low on the old Death Blossom charge here. The window coming out, is it going to be enough? It looks like Kent State is just going to LOS that window, and we don't find a lot of value from it, unfortunately.
Worth mentioning, this Venture on the other team is a bit of a wild card pick, and I think Venture's been secretly good for a long time. I think it's a very solid pick in some of these areas, and really all this Venture has to do is just kind of sit in hotel, poke out a little bit, leave when you've got to, and that's that. And that's already causing a big problem as we approach the point, and we're looking for that mobility and that option to get up, and we just don't really have it because the pressure is always on. Kind of supplementing maybe what a tank would do in that situation where D.Va's kind of forward fire maybe isn't a whole lot, but you've got the Venture there to help out and just kind of really poke out. And honestly, giving the Zarya charge is not that big of an issue, but it looks like we are going to make an attempt to kind of displace them.
We are going to be rotating through Hotel and trying to flip map on them. Is it going to be enough? A Grav coming out.
Surge, come out.
Answered by both beats. Is it going to be enough? Rage TPing in. Are we going to see a Death Blossom here? Not enough, unfortunately.
Not. I saw the vision for it. Defense Matrix is almost out. You've got 3 people nearby. Unfortunately, that headshot just completely took it out. But I see what we're going for with that. And to be honest, that's the initiative we want to see. Holding on to an ultimate, almost never suggested as Otzel's bouncing away, trying to touch the point. A good try, never want to give up, but it looks like they will be full held on first here.
And it is unfortunate, and we're probably going to end up on the same comp rolling out on defense, I would expect.
I think that's likely, yeah. To be honest, we've got a bit more of a chance. I mean,
I would say defense is better.
Yeah.
It is going to be a rough hold with us having to full hold that team. If they are able to get our high grounds, then we're going to end up in the same situation. So we've got to really, really hold on to those high grounds.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a little bit rough if we do roll out that same comp. Maybe we swap to the Genji and the Kiri and have a little bit more high ground control, a little more mobility. Saying on the Reaper and the BAP, I don't think a bad choice. Definitely a good comp to roll out on.
Yeah.
And we know what we're doing with it. It's just first point Kings Row. If you don't have that high ground control, you're cooked.
I think it's definitely a good choice. The Sojourn especially is just going to be the one that we want to shine here, right? And just having that range that the rest of your team isn't relying on, but can keep their team. We might see some Doomfist.
Oh no!
How about that? We might see some Doomfist.
I don't want to see Doomfist, man.
Getting a little excited. Maybe he'll swap. Oh, come on! All right.
They're
getting trolled by the enemies already.
Trolled by the enemy on a Doomfist and a Widow. And it looks like they are going to roll out the same team comp, and we'll see if we're able to hold control of our high grounds away from that D.Va. Honestly, every single person on their team can get those high grounds pretty easily.
I like what we've done, though. We're kind of spaced out, taking a lot of space, and, against a team like this where we can expect them to try and make high ground plays like this.
And it looks like the enemy Lucio does mistime the boop, but unfortunately just goes down from so much focus fire.
Yeah, I think the call out there was really good just to pop the bubble, and honestly there was no time to hit Fade or Wraith and try and get away. Venture's one, also got Venture down to 1, but can't find another bubble to survive in front of the D.Va. They're going to manage to capture the point, and that's going to be Kings Row.
That is unfortunate that Kings Row was so short, because it is a beloved map. But yeah, that high ground control with a D.Va, a Sojourn, a Venture, a Baptiste, and a Lucio. Or was it
talk about vertical mobility. That's just a a really hard team to displace.
Yeah, and you can see that in no short form, our enemy DPS is quite good at hit scan.
Definitely, it's definitely worth noting. Yeah, and playing around that Sojourn, and you can notice that the Sojourn and Lucio are sort of at the hip. I think they want to go together all the places you want to go. Just moving that Sojourn around, getting able to let her take any angle she wants is going to be super important. And when it came down to When it came down to attack, I think a lot of it had to do with not even so much hero, but just sort of general defense setup. Is you have this strategy of, bubbling your Reaper, but at the end of the day, what you want to do with that is you want to walk. You want to find people and catch people out. And when you've got, so much speed and so much high ground, and, the high ground on Kings is kind of like a big bowl, right? Like you can kind of go from this side to this side. And with those options, it just made it a little bit too easy to avoid. But I think that really is a bit more of a play style thing. I think that's the kind of thing that we can identify and really
absolutely
kind of tackle, and it helps not focusing on the specific heroes, because like we've got a good Sojourn player, we've got a good Reaper player, we've got a good Lucio player, we've got all those elements. It's just about making the whole cake.
Exactly. It's we're doing what we need to do.
Yeah.
But I think there's just a couple of pieces missing. Like I saw a really good TP bubble that has been working in scrims.
Yeah.
The unfortunate part is that it was telegraphed enough, and the enemy team was able to react well enough that by the time Reaper shows up, because it takes 10 years for Reaper to TP anywhere, and the bubble comes out and he's ready to go, everybody's up on high ground.
Yeah, totally. And we're trying new things, right? All of the pieces are there. We, each time we go to the point, we tried rushing the Venture out of Hotel. We tried going up to the high ground where we are. We tried going up to the high ground where they weren't to kind of get a second. We tried going straight to point. So, going through all of these different strategies and motions is really good at the end of the day, because regardless of the outcome, that's so reviewable. That's so great to go in and sort of take a step out and look at everything and just say, this is which strategy did we try here, and how can we workshop it? So I think, and like we saw in Lijiang, right, we saw so many of those fights that we did get a pick, or we did get the point control, or we did get some kind of space past an important choke point, excuse me. But you want to see the follow up, and you want to see it quickly.
Exactly. Yeah, it is just rough going against enemy teams with an SR difference as much as we have right now. Most of the players on the enemy team are Grandmaster. I think it is important to say that. And so we are we're punching up here. And
definitely.
Honestly, the fact that we have been able to win some fights, and we have been able to do and show up and say, hey, we're not just going to roll over and let you win this because there's some number difference. Numbers don't mean anything.
Yeah. I mean, and you may have a situation where there's not really anything you can do about sort of individual player strengths, but when it comes down to team and coordination, that's what it's all about, right?
Exactly.
When you play in an environment like this, it's not about, well, who are the 5 best people I can know? The 5 best Overwatch players I know would make a terrible team, because they're so different. They don't know what they're doing. They haven't practiced, and just the more and more you play, that's what's really going to connect.
Now I don't know about you, but if I put the 5 best Overwatch players that I know on a team, I'd probably end up with like 4 or 5 supports.
Yeah.
The other thing.
That's about right. I'd have like Amalgamane, a Ram player, pretty much. I mean, I'd have to put one of my best support players on DPS. It's
difficult to do.
So it is tricky, but that's the point of assembling a team and finding out how are the ways we can make that work. And I think we can make it work.
Absolutely.
All those parts are there. So this time, a first match of the season is definitely a bad time to encounter so many individual strong opponents, but it does not define the rest of this season.
No, not at all. Every game is individual. It doesn't matter what's happened in anything. We are going into, I believe, do we know our next map yet? We are going to see Watchpoint Gibraltar.
Nice.
So now I do know that we are not going to see the same comp on this map.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of Suji special sauce here.
Okay,
So we will see if this ends up working. I'll give a little bit of an overview of it, but first point, Watchpoint Gibraltar. Point rolls out, takes a corner, and then goes down underneath the bridge.
Yep.
And the Mega, that's right there.
Yeah.
Inside that little room. That's going to be an important Mauska tool that we will use later.
Nice.
So once it gets there, we are going to be pretty much hard stacking on that Mega. And we're going to see a lot of just touch the point and live forever. Like there's nothing that they can really do if we are all nice and safe and nestled in that corner, with a BAP and a Lucio, as we are planning on seeing.
Definitely.
And if they do manage to break it, we've got Rage on Sim. And we are going to TP across
gotcha, yeah.
to the other room.
You know, I've played against this on ranked, and even swapping to Junkrat just doesn't do anything. And yeah, I think you really just said all of the pieces that form that there, right? You've got that mega health pack, which is just, you know, an extra life for anybody, you know, that needs it. Anybody can take it, which is really great. You've got, you know, some of your staple, really kind of unkillable tanks that can just kind of stand there. And then Symmetric adds a lot of flexibility to that, right?
For sure.
You've got sort of turrets and beam are definitely strong frontline tools, but also having the TP and that option should things get hairy, I think really kind of saves this and makes it something I'm really excited to see, and I really hope we keep practicing at it.
Yeah, and you know what tank we're going to go on here that I know is Otzel's one of Otzel's favorites?
Yeah.
We're on Diva.
Nice.
Because if we're DMing that room, you're DMing the other 4 people on your team.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And are you familiar with Fat Tracer theory?
Fat Tracer theory. Enlighten me, please.
So our Diva is going to be the one contesting point where when normally it would be a Tracer's job to do.
I gotcha. I understand. Fat Tracer. Yeah, that tracks.
And it looks like we do see the enemy team, it looks like, has turned off streamer mode on at least one of their accounts, because I do see that ball is named Gerbil.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And we are all going to go down and stack in this room and see what happens.
Boy, this is a dive if I've ever seen one. We've got Genji, Tracer, Kiri, Wuyang, and now a ball, all trying to make it past these points.
And unfortunately, we just simply don't rotate into our safe space fast enough. And it looks like we are getting angled on by Kent State. Is it going to be enough? It is a lot of healing, but with our early picks coming out, it's not going to be enough. Also getting
Briggs
demeched.
Really not the one you want to see go there. I mean, Briggs' healing uptime can basically be 100% in the right situation, which is just, you know, so strong. It's just passive healing for everybody. So that's definitely someone you want to be alive there. So I think that was definitely a coordinated attack.
Absolutely.
We want to displace that Brig first and try to kind of give time back. But, you know, a lot of map left to be had. It looks like the MO field's going to have to be forced out, but we are able to turn. The Kiriko has teleported in and used Suzu, and that's going to let them go ahead and die. We lose one. Unfortunately, we lose Rage on Sim.
But honestly, a Sim for a Kiri is a trade that I'll take pretty much every day of the week.
Especially at this point in the map when we can get back, you know, pretty quick. I think this is definitely a good idea. Oh!
And the Tracer does go down, but unfortunately we do lose Aurora, Rose, and Nyx goes down as well. Is Otzel going to be able to rotate out? It looks like probably.
Yeah, and it looks like this is their strategy, is just fire their DPS and into the enemy team and get those trades and get those picks. And honestly, I think it works really. The kind of thing that ties that all together is the Wrecking Ball, right?
Absolutely.
You can just be away from your team, wait for that moment, and then kind of come in full HP and really help. SimTP on top of the spaceship here is going to be a big help in taking an early position.
But we do need to touch point, and it is going to be our Diva's job to do so. Looks like we all drop 4 point, and that Blade comes out, answered by the rally, but the Blade still finds Rage. The Wuyang finding Nyx, and Rose also going down to the Tracer, and it looks like Aurora just gets meleeed to death by that ball, and it is going to be second point.
We saw with that POV, their Tracer player has some really incredible control. Going for those blink melees and you know, keeping yourself really alive in the middle of those fights is going to be really important. I mean, yeah, they're really interested in just kind of going deep and you know, getting super far in the back and kind of looking for the pick. And when they trade off, it's okay because they've got other people that can get in and out. Haven't seen a whole lot of this Wuyang, but maybe that's the point. Maybe we don't need to. You just need someone that can hold down the fort. You know, send a couple projectiles your way. Previously, this role may have been taken up by, you know, like an Ana or something else, or maybe even a Zenyatta if you were getting really crazy with it. You felt really good. But this is kind of a new kind of pick, and you know, I haven't spent a lot of time with Wuyang, but I think this is sort of one of the things he excels at.
That character is pretty crazy right now with a direct hit from his primary fire is 100 damage. And we did see the wall come out with a nice pick, and that we did slow a little bit of the momentum from Kent State here. And it looks like Nyx is trying to fight off this ball in Genji, but is not able to do it, not getting proper support from his team to be able to, from their team to be able to live.
Yeah.
It looks like Rose, unfortunately, also goes down, followed by Aurora. Is Rage next? He is. And Otzel is probably going to end up out of mech here, getting picked
bomb.
by that Genji as
Guessing
well.
We're going to see a switch come in at some point, maybe just to stall a little more if we can get out of time, but doesn't look like we will, and they're going to go ahead and cap that.
And that
404, time
is
not found.
an unfortunately fast cap from Kent State. We know what we need to do with our strat on first point. We're a little sloppy with it. It's pretty much brand new to us. I think we've scrimmed it once, and it's something that I'm sure we will see many times throughout the season.
Yeah,
and I'm sure every time we see it, it will be better.
And you know, this comp the enemy team's running out at Tracer Genji Ball is clearly very practiced, right?
Absolutely.
That's not a comp. That's sort of a comp that you see your teammates queue that up in ranked. You maybe go like, oh, that's a little optimistic, you know, because it relies a lot on that raw mechanical skill, that being able to secure the picks. It's dismantleable, but we're seeing a very clearly practiced version of that. And something that's also worth mentioning too is, you know, there's a very difficult job for our Brig in a situation like this where she really has like 3 people that she's looking to take care of at any time. And you only have one whip shot. You can whip shot one of them, you can shield bash away from the other, but then you've still got that third dive character that's going to give you trouble. And we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing the kit be used to survive as long as we can with the boop, with the shield, with the heal, but it's just not going to quite be enough. It's because we've got so much aggression coming. So it's good. I think this is definitely a good choice to run out on here. I mean, I definitely am a Brig believer. I think it's really good work, and I'm excited to see what we do with this TP here.
Absolutely. I think we're probably going to look for our D.Va to just push the point as much as possible, as a Tracer typically would, again, seeing that fat Tracer theory, and then trying to rotate down with TP into that safe little grove. And in ideal circumstances, that should be pretty good protection against a dive like this. But unfortunately, we do get dove onto Nyx, and both Nyx and Aurora go down with it.
And that pick there happened in a split second when that Wrecking Ball slam connected right as the Genji went in.
And unfortunately, even with the DM on it, there's just too much combined damage from slam, melees, Genji dash, just too much that you can't DM.
That's the kind of coordination that's going to sort of dismantle a comp that's sort of kind of individual.
Well, with this enemy team that we're seeing here, that's a classic ball comp, very heavily reliant on communication, and like you said, obviously very well practiced. You can see with a ball player named Gerbil, I really am expecting a very good golf ball play.
It does inspire a little bit. Yeah, you kind of expect to see something like that.
And it looks like we are going to get picked. Aurora going down, unfortunately. Rage as well.
Lands a really nice secondary fire onto the Tracer to help. But yeah, it's just you got the whole team behind you. It plays like that or don't necessarily help. But it's really good to see that we still have the reflexes, honestly, and we saw that from Nyx on the end of the last point there to kind of stay alive but that's being defeated, like we said, by coordination, by practice.
Absolutely. And honestly,
too difficult.
Before we even know it, Aurora has been slammed, dashed, and meleeed to the point where there's just so much that you really need to look into the future to be able to see anything that you can do to avoid that kind of coordination from clearly a very well-practiced team comp like this.
And talk about a great point to make it work too. You know, even with the mobility that D.Va offers, I mean, I can already see them in the custom games. You know, working on where they're going to pop out from, which quarters they're going to be in, and this ball in particular is really good at not taking any damage and then being right there for the kill.
And we do get a pick on the Genji, but unfortunately we trade out Nyx, Rose, and Aurora. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be enough with 1 versus 3 picks.
We will be back sooner. I don't know if it's enough to wonder if we're going to have a chance to capitalize off this pick. What I'm guessing is going to go ahead and return. The mines in the room, unfortunately, is going to spell a quick defeat for Rage. Yeah, just spending a little too much time in that room lets our enemy team collapse on us and just do anything they need, even with the DM there. We really just got to get out of those small spaces. We do have 5 ults on the boards. The board. We'll see if anything comes out of it. You can argue it's great that the that the mines is out, but you definitely know that that ball is aware that his DPS ults are about to come online. So yeah, with 5 ults here, the name of the game is really just getting them out and making a play. We've got the wall down already. Pulse Bomb unfortunately is going to connect to Nyx. Oh, we can't get the Immortality Field out quite just in time, but we get the idea.
And unfortunately, it looks like we are just not going to be able to really push out a spawn here. Rose popping the window out of pure desperation.
Yeah, trying to make something happen.
And the High Noon coming out in spawn, not finding anybody, unfortunately. And it looks like we're probably just looking to try to find any sort of opening in the last couple seconds of the map here.
I mean, it's happened to all of us before, right? You're dominating, and then suddenly they overtime it all the way to the end. So
that is true. I've certainly been reverse swept before.
Yeah. It doesn't feel good. It's possible. We do manage to get the Genji out one more time. Ball's in our backline, speeding away. We've got the Diva Bomb down, buying some space. He's going to be able to remech, which is pretty important here in overtime. Really glad that we didn't get picked. Oh,
and it looks like that Wuyong's going to ult himself and keep himself alive. Unfortunately, Aurora gets picked, and we are not able to trade out anybody with that pick.
It's so difficult in this situation, too, to not only hold the point and keep that overtime meter going, but then to, get people up there. That's what you want your Diva to do. But we're facing so much backline pressure that getting up there is a real challenge.
Yep, and it looks like Aurora does take out that Tracer, but also gets traded out, and it's just going to be Otzel trying desperately to push this point.
Honestly,
but unfortunately,
a great
it's going to be
stall
taken
at the
out.
end.
Yep.
A really, really good try. But I think this map, seeing the specialized comp that they ran out on, seeing how well they executed their plays, I think the real sort of analysis here is Kent State has just practiced this a ton.
Absolutely.
This is something that you can definitely see the work that went into it, and it is a very impressive performance. And I definitely think performances like these are what we are capable of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely a very good team to go up into. And EMU should honestly be proud of themselves for giving it all that they had with that team.
Absolutely.
I mean, playing into ball is just
it's a nightmare.
Awful. I hate it. It's so bad. And there's, with a ball, Genji, Tracer, a Kiri, and a Wu, there's just, I mean, it moves so fast that you have to be able to out-predict what they're doing. And if you don't have hours and hours and hours and hours of scrims playing against that team comp and somebody that moves that fast, like you simply cannot see where they're coming from, where they're going, and who they're going to just Batman swoop down on, and then they vanish. It's a rough comp to run into.
It's worth mentioning too, you come to something like Watchpoint Gibraltar, which historically is a very role-heavy map, either way.
Yep.
Full holds or really close holds or speeding it down is sometimes a roll of the dice. So definitely a super coordinated team that made it happen. But it's just those little moments, you see sometimes it's just the angle of the defense matrix that determines whether or not something gets properly deleted or not. And when those things go your way, you get a little more leeway. Some of our picks maybe at the end of first point there kind of matter more, and turn in. It just didn't really shape out that way that time. But yeah, I think we just said it when it comes down to practice. It's honestly a blessing that this kind of game is really early in our season. We get to kind of see what this looks like, but it doesn't get us down for the rest, right? Yeah,
absolutely. We're looking at a good rest of the season. Definitely still some heavy hitters in our lineup.
Yep.
We have seen, I believe Miami still has either current or former pro players on it.
Yep.
So we'll definitely have some heavy hitters in there, but also some much more nail biter matches, I believe.
Yeah.
Coming down the tube at one point. So that's going to be all for now. Let's look at our schedule coming up. You just watched our Overwatch stream for today, and tomorrow is going to be our Rocket League stream. But you care about the Overwatch. You want the Overwatch again versus Kent State.
I might tune in just to see if we flip it on them. For me, that's 1-1.
Absolutely.
If the Rocket League team catches the dub, that's 1-1 there.
And now I'm not personally familiar with how a Rocket League team looks this year, but I know historically we have looked pretty good.
Nice, yeah.
And then later this week, again on Thursday, we are versus Central Michigan. with Overwatch again, and then next week Bowling Green, Overwatch again, and then a little bit of variety with the Rocket League coming back as well versus Central Michigan. Hopefully you tune in for all of them, but hopefully you open like 8 more browser tabs and you watch all of the Overwatch streams
on
like
all your
10
Google
times.
accounts, throw your follows. It's September, might as well drop it here.
Oh, of course. Send it to your mom. She won't know what's going on, but she's just proud that you're having friends and
my
doing
family
things.
when they watch me play and they're like, we think it's doing good, and they're like, which one are you? I'm like, I'm the guy with green roller skates. So if you see me, then that's probably me. And then yeah, they do their best to cheer along, but it's quite intense.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard. If you play football, your dad probably knows what's going on.
Right.
It's really it's really hard to explain Overwatch to your family.
Tremendously. You can't imagine. And it's so difficult because we have thousands of hours and you're like, this is like, it makes so much sense to me, but how do you even you have to explain like the fundamental aspects of like what an online game entails and that kind of thing. So
exactly.
But we're grateful to the viewers now. We're grateful to everyone that went in and checked it out. It was a really good game. At the very least, I think it was. Both teams were proving that they were there to win.
Absolutely.
And they wanted to do their best, and I don't think anybody can deny that. So I'm just excited to see the rest.
Absolutely. And I think that is going to wrap it up for us here today. No more Overwatch. Winton has to go to bed. I'm going to go play Silk Song now, I think, along with pretty much everyone else.
I heard that's really good. Yeah, I got to pick that up soon.
It's so good.
I've been really into Deadlock.
Oh,
that's been taking my time away.
That's fair. It's a Valve game. It's a good one. But I'm going to go play Silk Song, get my shaw.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for Rocket League. I won't see you tomorrow, but maybe I'll watch along. Yeah. You'll see me on Thursday. Are you going to be here?
I will be here. You'll see me Thursday too.
You'll see both of us
check
Thursday.
out that next match.
See some more Winston, even though we didn't play Winston. With some more Winston. He's in the game.
Yeah.
He's there. You can feel him, his presence.
He's on the Hero Select screen, and that's where we need him to be.
Perfect. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, gamers. Bye.